Hey yo everybody, this is another installment of Finding Sensibility, where we take positive or inspirational quotes, see if we can make them work in our day-to-day, or if they might just be a product of the times. Today, we have probably one of my favorite quotes that we're going to try to break down. It comes from Doris Lessing, and I think this really challenges some traditional notions of virtue that we have about ourselves and the way we interact with others, and more importantly, what the nature of honesty is. It is terrible to destroy a person's picture of himself in the interests of truth or some other abstraction. Doris Lessing. So this makes us reevaluate what we consider the nature of truth to be when we're dealing with other people. And I'm sure we've all encountered somebody or some number of people who consider themselves to be honest to a fault, which essentially means they're disrespectful, and they mask it by being honest with you and telling you the truth. Okay, so first things first. This is not a universal idea. We've talked about this before. Truth is not some concept that just exists out there and gets passed on to us in some magical, ethereal way. A lot of the time, the truth that you give to somebody else is simply about a problem that you have with them. It's not something you respect or appreciate about them. It's something you want them to change, something you think is wrong about them. And that's kind of what this quote is getting at. It is terrible to destroy a person's picture of himself in the interests of truth or some other abstraction. So, if I think somebody's hobby or job is a waste of time or disruptive or just not important, that's my opinion. That's not a truth. It can be true to me, but that does not make it a universal truth. But people hold their opinions so highly regarded to themselves that they feel it's necessary to make it true for others as well. So my suggestion for this is to recognize that truth is an individual concept. And you can express your truth, but it is not your responsibility to put what you consider honesty as a virtue onto somebody else, especially to tear that person's self-image down. What you can do is try to understand them, understand their behaviors, understand their ideas, understand what this thing is that frustrates you or bothers you so much, and try to manipulate it in a way so that it doesn't impact your truth, but it also doesn't tear somebody down. Let's say somebody tells dirty jokes at your job, and every time they're around, you just become so uncomfortable because they're going to say something that just puts you off, or is gross, or is nasty towards certain people, whatever the case may be. It's just, you find it disrespectful. So instead of just going up to that person and saying, listen, you're a pervert, you're disgusting, stop telling these jokes because you're such a crappy person. Have a conversation with them. Sit down with them and talk with them and say, man, those jokes, where do you even get that? Why is this the place that you feel you need to tell it? See why they do. And then you can share your truth with them once you've asked for what's true to them as well. You can try to bridge that gap. But if you try to overrun it and overpower it, that's not your job. You don't get to do that. Your truth is not more important than someone else's. Understanding is what's more important than anything. And if you can't build a bridge over it, that's too bad. But you can at least come to the understanding that you won't build a bridge over it. And then from there, you gotta do what you gotta do. Whether that's going to your boss, whether that's moving to another office, whether that's looking for another job, depending on what the case may be. That's not the end of it. We like to think of ourselves as virtuous creatures. And while it is important to be honest and truthful, it's not okay to use that as an attack on somebody else. And that's what it is. Use your truth as a method to search out for other truths rather than imposing what you consider yours to be. Because yours isn't all it's cracked up to be, and neither is mine. It just is what it is. And if I can use mine to bridge some gaps and make better connections with the people around me, that's great. If I can use my truth to eliminate people in my life who will be destructive, regardless of how honest and upfront I am about my feelings and my intentions, then I can weed them out. But if I just force my truth onto them, that makes me a crappy person in a number of ways. Understand what your truth is, and it will help you understand what others' truths are. You can make better, stronger connections with people, and we can move forward as a group, as a collective. But until then, stay tuned and stay real.